like in the very beginning, when I was telling you, like I knew I had a visual difference, and there's a couple of ways I had to adjust to it. I'll give you a couple of different points. It's one of them things where the world looks at you as someone who have this deformity or who has this disability or someone who might have a disfiguration face, right? 'Cause a lot of people don't know what vitiligo is, right? So when the world looks at you, they look at you as a disadvantage, right? So it's all about among your mindset. Either you play victim or you can change the narrative on your circumstance and your situation and don't allow them things to define you. So, like I said in the beginning, it was a lot of inside work because the world will place these judgments, these assumptions. The world will come up to you and ask you what's going on constantly, what happened to your face, especially back then when it wasn't really like the norm. That can be mind blowing. That can be like that's how I really am, right? So it was a lot of work for me. I had to take, even though my mom gave me almost the tools I need, but she didn't really give me all the tools I need. Growing up, I had a lot of trust issues because my mom would tell me one thing, but as soon as I step out them doors, my mom wasn't holding my hand through society. Society would tell me another thing. So I'll go back to my mom and say, hey, mom, are you kidding me? Why are you not telling me the truth? But my mom, as a parent, she reassured me. She said, son, you're all right. Nothing's wrong with you. So I realized that it was a lot of work with myself. It had to start for me, not my mom. I started to look in the mirror at the age of 7. And I started to say like opposite things what the world would say to me, not even knowing that it was a form of like affirmations and mantras and just really building my self-esteem up on my own. And once I was allowed to do that, I was able to fall almost to begin to be honest with myself, to have this sense of urge like there's nothing wrong with me. Because as you start to view the rest of the world, you start to see everybody else have similarities or the world has their own problems, their own issues. And when the world and I started saying this is not ignorant, they just don't understand. So when I started doing more of the inside work and doing the work at this early age, even though I had my trials and tribulations, I had my ups and downs where I went into the streets to be accepted. But the best thing that ever happened to me and how I coped was fall in love with DJing at the age of 11. So I decided to call my DJ name DJ Half. So I kind of brought that awareness towards me. So I was like the coolest thing ever, like being 11 years old, knowing how to DJ, play music. And then my nickname was DJ Half or Half Man, Half Amazing. People was accepted to that, especially in my community. Like, yo, you the man, boom, boom, boom. I was like the coolest thing ever. But then again, I dealt with a lot of, even though that was cool on as it appeared as on the outside, but on the inside, I still had to work on myself. And how I did that was by looking in the mirror every single day, dealing with my issues instead of just bottling it up and holding them all in. I'm fortunate enough that I had the mother that I had, single parent household. My mom played, my dad too as well. My dad was absent from my life. He had a drug addiction. He had a different story from me. He thought I was going to have a chip on my shoulder. He thought I was going to be a serial killer, just from being from all the frustration. Imagine as a young boy, every day someone actually staring at you or actually asking you what happened to your face. That's a lot of trauma, a traumatized trauma as for a young child. Imagine growing up as an adult, not pushing past that, not getting really real professional help. Right. But one thing, and I think that I went through all these lessons for a reason because they turn into my blessings. And it was one of them things like if I didn't navigate through life the way I did, I don't think I can actually be fully healed to where I'm at to have this conversation with you. So a lot of people's story is different. A lot of people go through certain things. There's people who cope differently. Some people abuse alcohol and drugs to cope, but never really push past what they have to go through because all you're doing is going and still doing that same loop. But all you're doing is planting that seed, and eventually you keep planting that seed. Eventually it grows, but it's going to be hard to break them patterns when it's time to break them patterns. So I know you have to face everything head on, and most people don't want to face things head on. So that's what I did. I started looking in the mirror, and I developed that. I developed that confidence and started to do the work and put challenges in front of me every single day. Not this version that my dad thought I was going to be, and
Wow,
this version of who I was going to be. Not how
that's
my mom
amazing.
seen me, because I wish someone would have told me I was brilliant, I was a genius, I was
Mhm.
more than just being unique or one of a kind. Those are anybody, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
There's nothing
Thank
special
you.
about me. There, I don't, you know, the thing is I showed up, you know, and I was able to write.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're aware, I was able to, you know, write two children's books, The Boy Behind the Face
Wow.
and My Daily Superpowers. So, you
That's
know, it's one of
amazing.
them things
Yeah.
that you know, I do this at a high level, far as
Mhm.
just teaching people about self-love and hope and not giving up on yourself. But I do show, you know, I do talk about inclusion. I always wanted to be accepted, you know. So I talk about diversity and overcoming adversity, but you know, pursuing happiness and self-love at its highest level, but showing people you can be determined, you can you can have this resilience in you and this perseverance. You can come back from anything, you know.
Wow. Thank
But
you for sharing that.
I worked on myself, and you know,
That's
a lot of
amazing.
people ask me how I'm doing. I'm saying extraordinary, and they don't know how did I get there. But you don't know my backstory. So
Wow.
I got a new book coming out, The Man Behind the Face, where I'm giving all these tools and talking a little bit about my upbringing, so people can get a better understanding of who I am. So
Yeah. Tell us where to find you and all your projects you have out. Just share what you have coming out, where to find you, where to follow you.
yes, you can follow me on Facebook. It's James McLeod or That Vitiligo Guy, ThatVitiligoGuy. That's all across all platforms, from LinkedIn, from TikTok, from Instagram, my YouTube channel. I have a new book coming out, The Man Behind the Face. It's in work in progress right now. That's coming out soon. I'm coming out in a new movie called The Different Man. That's under production right now, and I'm just doing incredible work. I'm just on a mission just to change the world, one person at a time, to meet one person a day, to help one person to a day to help them with their breakthrough, to give them a different outlook on life, to give them a different perspective. But you know, I want to be the reason why you smile and someone else smile today. But most importantly, I want to use my visual difference to make an impact in someone else's life, because there might be someone right now listening to us who might be wounded inside. So if I can do it, you can do it.